You're listening to the Ricky Long Podcast.
What other benefits do instructors get from being on CoverNinja?
So for me, obviously, everything we've already mentioned about kind of reducing the stress and the admin and all that kind of thing. But I do think for an instructor, it's exposure as well, and the opportunity to more work and to earning more. But what we hope and what we strive towards is being part of that community and really hoping to build that kind of real proper network of instructors and really form a proper community. You know, in the future, there's loads we want to do with events and learning and training and just creating that space where everyone knows you, everyone wants to be part of that community. And hopefully we're working on quite a few other kind of partnerships and benefits. Can't talk too much about it for now, but with other brands for fitness instructors, essentially.
Love it. For the podcast listeners right now, the cheeky smiles, Claudia, hand on their face when they've said that. Brand partnerships and all that. Like, we're all going to be wearing the best clothes with the best free flights all around the world. We'll all be sorted. I love it.
Go with that.
You're listening to the Ricky Long Podcast, where international fitness entrepreneur Ricky Long answers your questions and interviews fitness leaders on training, nutrition, and mindset. Ricky is a fitness industry expert, having been helping people achieve their fitness goals since 2002. We talk everything fitness, business, and group exercise to help you on your fitness journey.
Welcome to another episode of the Ricky Long Podcast, episode number 58. This episode is slightly different to normal in that this episode is a feature episode where I have a conversation with Nicola and Claudia, who are the founders of CoverNinja. CoverNinja is an app designed specifically for group fitness instructors to get cover for their classes and for group fitness facilities to get cover for their classes. Therefore, it is called CoverNinja. So spent a good 50 minutes just going back and forwards with Claudia and Nicola, and it was an absolutely fantastic conversation. Hopefully it'll come across in the way where I was just trying to understand the app for myself, ask the questions that I believe you would have in signing up to this app and this facility. So you're going to hear a whole lot of chat back and forth. So the conversation goes like that. So as the podcast the conversation goes deeper and deeper, I might actually bring questions back to the start. So hopefully that brings massive value for you. If you're a group fitness instructor, trust me, you're going to love this app. You're going to relate to a lot of things. I've got a couple of bullet points here that you're going to relate to. The reason why I say that is because first and foremost, I am a group fitness instructor. You know, you might associate Ricky Long with being a Les Mills trainer. You know, that is part of what I do for a living. So Ricky Long sits at the top, and being a Les Mills trainer is part of what I do on a day-to-day monthly basis. It's this podcast, my viewpoint as you listen to this conversation is not from the Les Mills trainer standpoint. This is from Ricky Long as a fitness entrepreneur, as a personal trainer, and I 150% believe that the industry needs stuff like this to bring the average of everything, the average of quality up. And the more we are open to stuff like this, and more open to change we are and use the technologies that we have, the better. And like I said, I've got some bullet points which I need to jump into right now before I go off in a rant. To register in this app, any group fitness instructor will need to produce both an insurance certificate and a certificate to prove they can teach the class they're registering for. So for example, if you claim that you can teach a body pump class and you don't have a body pump certification, well then you will not be able to register on CoverNinja that you can teach those types of classes, be it body pump, be it Zumba, be it beach body, be it PIO, absolutely anything. Second thing, it also asks for a valid in-dated insurance certificate. and they accept all public liability insurance certificates. It's not that you have to be associated to a particular one. And the third thing that you're absolutely going to love about this one, which we do get to right at the end of the conversation, is it's actually free. It's actually free to be a member of this app. All you need to do is give over the certifications which I've just spoke to you. When I say give over, you do it all from your phone and your email address, a couple of basic contact details, and you're going to be opened up to this world that removes the necessity to post. You know, like if you're going away on holiday for a week and you need to get your 20 classes covered and you have to post in about 16 different Facebook groups. Well, what this app will do, this app will mean you do not have to post in those Facebook groups. And it means if you want extra work, you do not have to go to another Facebook group and say, yo, I'm in town for a bit, I'm looking to do some classes. You can just go straight to this app and you can cut out just a lot of the noise that exists out there. So like I said, this is a feature episode. So if you are a group fitness instructor, you are going to get a lot of value from listening to this conversation. If you're not a group fitness instructor, there will still be value in this episode for you, because basically what Nicola and Claudia have done, and they articulate it quite well at the start, is they use the basic sales pyramid. So the basic sales pyramid of life is, what people do we have? What are their problems? What product stroke service can I create to fix them? So if you're not working in the fitness industry right now, but you are aware of people in your ecosystem with a problem, if you can create something to fix that problem, then you could sell it to them. You could create a bridge that creates positivity for those people so they're not suffering the same problem. And this is exactly what these girls and the other co-founders and the back staff and all the developers, which again Nicola and Claudia will tell you more about in the episode, this is exactly what they did. So feature episode on CoverNinja. This episode is also sponsored by Podium for Sport, Northern Ireland Sports Retailer of the Year 2018, specialising in all things fitness and kit for schools. Second sponsors of the Ricky Long podcast is, of course, Jump 4.2. Jump 4.2 is my self-made online training program designed specifically for group fitness instructors who have frustrations with their energy levels, with aesthetically how they are looking, with where their nutrition's at and where their mindset's at. Jump 4.2 helps connect the dots between training and nutrition by using a series of mindset drills which just help you enjoy life just a little bit more. So yeah, if you want to find out more about Jump 4.2, the link is in the show notes. Our next group intake won't be until 2019. There are ways for you to come on a one-by-one basis. I take on a handful of people each month who are, rather than when you come on in a group format, there's maybe 20, 30 people coming on at the one time, so everybody's in one place at one time. When you come on a one-by-one basis, you're assigned a mentor to help you through that. That's either me or one of the other coaches, Heather or Lindsay. So if that does appeal to you, there's a discount on right now. You got a messages. I can nearly chat. The link is in the show notes, or you can just reach out to us anywhere. Handing over to the CoverNinja.
You're listening to the Ricky Long Podcast.
This special episode of the Ricky Long Podcast, this feature episode, is with the founders of the CoverNinja app, Nicola and Claudia. Hello, ladies.
Hi.
Hi, Ricky.
How are you both doing today?
Yeah, really good. I've got a coffee in hand. Life's good.
Excellent. Listen, I'm very excited to be chatting to you both about this concept that you have, this app that you have. It's an app called CoverNinja. So why don't you jump straight in and tell us what this app does, and more importantly, how you come up with the name?
The first question most people ask.
First question. So obviously the problem is cover, and cover we know is a nightmare problem. And the reason for Ninja is because what a ninja does behind the scenes is so magical. So they work very discreetly. No one knows they're there. They're doing all the hard work, and that's really what our app is. The brain behind our app and what it does for its users is very ninja-like. No one will know how hard that ninja is working. And the whole point is that the ninja sorts out your cover.
Absolutely love that. Absolutely love that. And so obviously this app is designed for group fitness instructors to find cover for their classes, or if you're a group fitness instructor looking to get cover, you can go onto this app to, let's say, source what classes are available to teach that day, that week.
Definitely, yeah.
Yeah, I absolutely love it. So tell us a bit about yourselves. How did the idea kind of come to product and process to where it is now?
Yeah, shall I start?
Yeah.
So we've both been in the fitness industry for ages. You wouldn't believe it, but 20 years for me.
Someone would not.
And so my background has been in venue management, so fitness management, venue management. And actually, I'm actually a trained personal trainer and owned a personal training studio in London for many years. And so my background is purely from venues and really seeing really how much of an issue it is for a venue to maintain and look after a group exercise timetable. And for me, it was always the most complicated role in the club to try and recruit for, was a group exercise manager. No one wants that 1 a.m. call when on a Friday night. And then you, Claudia?
Yeah, so my background is as an instructor. So I have been a Group X instructor for many years, worked for a lot of different brands. And the same as Nicola, cover has always been a nightmare. Well, it is in the industry for instructors and venues. But so I kind of come from the perspective of an instructor, and Nicola more so from the venue. And actually how the idea came about was a few years ago, we were on holiday and I had actually had a nightmare getting my classes covered. And we were just finally sat in France drinking a glass of rosé, and I was kind of reminiscing on what a nightmare it had been. And then we both kind of said, there really should be a simpler, more efficient way of sorting cover. And we just started kind of talking about that. And then it turned out that Nicola had actually discussed the same thing a few years ago.
Yeah. And that was it. It was from really first vision of it. We suffered it ourselves so much. And then we just thought, there's now, with apps and technology and connectivity, there's got to be a way of kind of fixing up this monotonous manual kind of problem. And everyone's lives is in the fitness industry are affected by cover. For an instructor, it's like pure stress when they do need cover, particularly if it's a last minute cover. And for a venue, it's a kind of, oh God, what's going to happen? Do I need to cancel a class and then upset my members? So it's really got a good pinch point for both people. And so, yeah, it was definitely that catalyst over a glass of rosé that was like, something has got to come about that makes this an easier process than what was already existing.
Love that. You've probably seen me writing stuff down here, and that's what I've written down. The best ideas the best ideas include alcohol. So,
Good, true story.
I just want to ask you, Nicola, you said about, that when you were a club manager, group exercise manager, you were always having, the problems of getting your classes covered. What are the recruitment kind of challenges that you had in the industry then and you still see now?
Yeah, I think finding reliable instructors that really want to do a good job every single time is always a key thing that every club is striving towards. Yeah. But ultimately, clubs recognise that stuff happens sometimes. Last minute cover is needed, and instructors do go on holiday. But I think more recently in the industry, because group exercise now is so much more than what it was 10, 15 years ago when I was in clubs, there's so many more instructors that do have very, very part-time jobs. As instructors, they might teach one class a week on a Saturday afternoon, for example. Mm-hmm. And so the problem is just so much greater. And for me, recruiting a Group X manager back then, and I think still is now, you often recruit the manager on how big their black book is. how many contacts do they know in the world, and really how many favors can they pull in from people. And I think what CoverNinja does is really helps a group exercise manager, and for a club takes the complete reliance out of that person. So because the platform is available to a venue 24/7, it's a website. At any point, anyone can log into the platform and see the status of a cover. So it doesn't need my Group X manager to have sent an email and then written a note in the duty manager's book, and then the receptionist doesn't know who's turning up in the morning. You know, it's all on the platform. So they simply log in. Each person can see different things on the platform, and it's just incredibly transparent. So for me, it's a massive assistance to a group exercise manager. It's like an online cover group, really, if you like. But it just removes some of that complete reliance on that person.
And yeah, I would say, just to jump in on that, it removes the reliance and actually allows them to do all the other aspects of their jobs. So it gives them more time to kind of work with member experience and class quality and all those other bits that the group exercise coordinator or manager should really be working on. But a lot of the time they're having to sort out cover, because otherwise they're having to cancel classes.
And we're big believers that, you know, every venue runs it slightly differently. But we think instructors should be finding their own cover. You know, we think that's a good thing. But we think because venues have really wanted instructors to do that so much, that they've lost a little bit of control over what's happening in their venues. An instructor's motive for cover is who answers first, perhaps on a WhatsApp group or on a Facebook group, whereas actually the venue would rather have someone who's taught there before, had good member results before, is known to the brand. So what the app can do is quite cleverly prioritise respondents based on the club's needs. So it gives a quick result for the instructor, but actually I guess the rules and the control is set by the club.
I was nodding and smiling along there when you said the cover is based on who answers the SOS call first. And I was just like, yep, I've done that.
Yeah, you know.
So, doesn't matter who it is, doesn't matter where they live, if they're on the club's payroll or not, if the club and that person have a different relationship or not. I'm just, you replied first, away you go, mate. You can go and do that. We've kind of done a good job of this already, but I want to be really, really clear for the listeners, because your app has obviously, it's been on social media recently. It's been on Les Mills pages and the Les Mills channels, which a lot of listeners will have seen. So just if you were explaining this to an instructor, what is this app and how do they use it? I know you've kind of done it, but if you were just kind of to put it in a nutshell.
Yeah, so as we said, it's a group exercise class cover app. So for instructors, it's a way for them to find cover for their classes, but it's also a way for them to pick up extra cover and earn more if they want to. The good thing about CoverNinja is that it's completely targeted. So if an instructor was looking for cover before CoverNinja, they might have rang round a lot of people. They would be on loads of different Facebook groups and WhatsApp groups. And what that does is just puts everything into one place, but it means it's completely targeted. So for an instructor signing up, there's 3 sections that they would need to fill in. They would fill their profile section, which is just a little bit about them, profile image, maybe a bio, what they've done, some of their experience. Then they have their documentation. That's where they upload their insurance and their qualifications. So we know that they are qualified to teach. And then the final section, which is probably the most important for cover instructors, is their cover request settings. And this is what determines what cover request they get. So they will say what classes they teach. They then say their location and their location range, their availability and their minimum pay rate. And that means that that instructor will only ever get cover requests that are completely relevant to them. So if they only teach boxing, they're never going to get a yoga request. Or if they're working in Manchester, they're not going to get a request from London. And you can be as specific as you want with those cover request settings, because really less is more in this scenario. Whereas on the Facebook groups, you're having to trawl through loads of messages, finding something that's actually relevant to you, but by the time you've seen it, it's too late, or you haven't been on Facebook that day. With CoverNinja, any covers that you are eligible for push notification as well as an email. You can then go onto the app and you can see a little bit more about that cover. So you can see obviously where it is, the time, what class, how much the pay rate is. And from there, you can simply decide whether you want to accept it or decline it. If you decline it, you just click decline and it's just gone, you're taken out the running, or you can accept it. Once you've accepted, if you're confirmed to cover, you can then add the cover to your phone calendar. You've then got access to loads more information about the class, about the venue. You've got a Google Maps integration to kind of get you to your venue. You've got contact details within the app. All the extra information is all on the app and all displayed, so you can see exactly when you're covering, as well as all the extra information. You'll also get a push notification 24 hours before, just as a little reminder. So there's loads of nice little bits in there, but it's kind of making sure everything is in one place and completely targeted to you. So that's about someone who's looking for cover. Then and please stop me if I'm talking too much. I can talk.
Not at all. Absolutely love it.
Okay,
and I know where you're going next. You're going to talk about how clubs use the app.
Yeah.
So I signed up this morning and I was pleasantly surprised because I knew I was talking to you guys, so I needed to go through the process. So if there was anything I didn't understand, we could flesh it out here. And I was pleasantly surprised. At some point, it asked me as a new customer onto your app, it asked me, was I an instructor or was I a club?
Venue,
Yeah, so how you just spoke about how it obviously benefits, the instructor. How do the club use this?
Yeah. So when a venue onboards, a little bit like, as Claudia said, they would also have some sections, if you like. So they have a profile. And that is when a venue would write in every question they've ever been asked about their venue for cover. So obviously they'll put their address, their contact details, their bio. They would also write venue information, such as, where the car park is, if you need to bring auxiliary cables for certain studios. And there's even detailed studio information. So they say Studio 1, turn the air conditioning to this, Studio 3. They would also complete things like invoicing details, when to send an invoice, what date to send it by, who to put a PO, all of the details that a venue has ever asked about cover go straight into the platform and only once. We then have some live integrations to timetables. Okay, so a venue would then upload their timetable to CoverNinja. And we would categorize it, and they would set everything. They would set all the rules around all of the classes that are in their timetable. Who gets cover? They would prioritize people in their cover groups. So they could create tens of cover groups or literally one or two. They can turn on the CoverNinja database. So when a venue, basically, they set all of their rules up. And everything is transparent on the venue. Then if the instructor that's linked to that venue teaches their class there, or the club itself, they can post a cover out for that class. And it just, for a venue's benefit, it's a timetable manager, and they can see everything there on their timetable. They can see who's covering at the click of a button. So for example, if Claudia was covering me today, I would clearly see that on my dashboard. I'd be able to download Claudia's insurance. I could view her profile, I could download her certificates. So it means that, again, the instructor, every time they cover, they don't need to send their documents in. It's all available and viewable. It also means it's the passage of information. So when Claudia's taught for me, she will then receive further information. She will know where to send an invoice to. And so, I do appreciate instructors at times do get quite a bad rap. But I also know that actually clubs need to be more efficient at processing invoices and getting people paid on time. So hopefully all of this information passes all the way through the journey. And it just is a very, very transparent connecting platform.
Yeah, there's so much good stuff in that. And what I loved again when I signed up is it asks for certifications on it. So, and it prompts you. So I was trying to do it fast. So I was like, right, I don't need to do this right now. I just need to understand the app, but it wouldn't let me go to the next screen unless I uploaded something. And you guys check that at the other end. So for example, if I said I was a body pump instructor and I didn't upload a body pump certificate, that would flag in your system.
Exactly.
So you would know not to send me to whatever venue or request for body pump like that. That's class, because that is, for me, for me, speaking kind of a little bit passionately, that's what the industry needs in terms of regulation. You know, that this is actually something that will put a barrier, a standardization right across. You know, and obviously I just spoke about Lesmo's body pump. You spoke about boxing earlier, whether it Beachbody or Zumba or whatever it might be. I think that's a really, really, that was a nice surprise I got, that I couldn't skip that, because it was like, I was frustrated at the time because it was like, oh, I'm just trying to learn the app. I just need to go ahead. But I actually had to go and actually had to upload what I needed to upload. And there was another one I wanted to pull out as well, is you said about it integrates into your calendar settings. Did I hear that right?
Yeah, that's right. So only when you've been confirmed to cover. So when you're fully confirmed to cover, you then just have the option to just add it to your phone calendar. That would just go in the same way you would have any kind of appointment or something into your phone calendar.
And it's just little things like that, Ricky. We know that we need to remove as many places where errors can occur. Mm-hmm. So you might agree to confirm a cover, and then you put it in the wrong day in your phone because you're on a rush. And then next thing you know, perhaps you don't turn up for your class. I'm not saying this is you, by the way.
I've done that.
Part of when we mapped out how to build this app, and it is purely an efficiency platform. It's a helper. It's a tool, right? And we just looked at every type of interaction an instructor has to have, and every type of interaction a club or a venue has to have. And then we thought, what can be automated here? How can we remove the errors? How can we remove the back and forth? How can we help certain things? And that's what the guards that you said there, you couldn't move from one stage to another. Mm-hmm. It's exactly like as an instructor, when you see a class, you see the basic information. If you accept a class and get confirmed, you then see much more information. So if you're wanting to get your class covered, Ricky, you might say, please come 15 minutes before, because the members are always there early. They're expecting this release, or tell them I'm back next week. So you can actually personalize your class request much more. And only when the instructor is confirmed for that, they then see those details. And so at each point you receive more information. So you could be in the morning looking at your covers or your classes for that day, and you should have at the click of a button all the information you need to not just turn up and cover a class, but to turn up and deliver an awesome class. You know, it's a horrible experience for members if the instructor doesn't know how to turn on the aircon, right? And the instructor gets slammed for that. But actually, how is the cover instructor supposed to know? You know, they're helping out a friend, they've been pulled in last minute. And so we feel by having all this information available, the whole point for this is we want to drive the standards of the industry. We want members to get a better experience. We want our instructors to have a good experience with cover and with clubs. And we want our clubs to know who's teaching in their venues. And so it's a key thing.
Yeah, and following on from that as well, about raising the standards of group exercise and delivering a better experience for the members. One of the things for a venue that's on CoverNinja, once a cover instructor has taught, if they did a good job, then the venue can then rate them and then add them to a cover group, so that actually next time that class needs cover, they're given priority to cover that class. So it's also about member continuity. However, if they did a bad job and they got bad feedback, the venue can either remove them from a cover group or they can block them altogether. So we all know that there are unfortunately some instructors that aren't great and venues don't want to have for whatever reason in their club. But what happens is sometimes they might be removed from a cover email list, but then actually someone who's trying to find cover for their class has the old email list and they're ringing around and that person said they're going to come in and then they're coming in again. Whereas actually once they're blocked from that venue on the platform, it means that they'll never receive a cover request for that venue again. So everything is automatically up to date on the platform. For example, also if an instructor doesn't teach anymore, so they either they've moved away or they don't teach, they're now no longer going to receive cover requests. Whereas at the moment, they probably still get the messages. In fact, I still get, I'm on loads of cover groups for classes I've never taught. I've never ever taught yoga, and I still get requests for gyms that I worked at like 10 years ago. But it just means everything is automatically up to date through the platform.
Absolutely love it. I've got a load of questions I want to pull out there. I think it's really, I really like how you both worded that about instructors, clubs not wanting to work with proper instructors. So I think a lot of people maybe listening to this will hear that, and they might have a few opinions on that kind of standpoint. But I always come at it, it will force group fitness instructor, it'll force the average to come up, because group fitness instructors will know, if I want to be chosen to teach by all the clubs, I need to be reaching a certain criteria. So anyone listening to that, like, that's new to the fitness industry, that's new to the group fitness industry. I think we have had it very, very easy for a long time. To go back to what we said at the start of the conversation, if I know the group fitness manager, I'm probably getting a class. I can be really, really rubbish, but I've had a pint, I've had a gin with them at some point, I'm probably going to get a class. So I think this raises the professionalism. So personally, I really like that. I think that might cause a little bit of, I love the word disruption right now, a little bit of disruption in the industry. So I applaud that. I really do. I was going to ask you, you said the club will rate the instructor. Yeah. How does that rating system work? Are there set questions?
No, really, it's really very, very, very simple. It's simply a scoring system from 1 to 5. And imagine a bit like an Uber scoring for your driver. And so our aim is and we've seen already, on the most part, it's very, very good. And everyone starts with a 5-star rating. So it's a question of, let's keep that and let's maintain that. And what we know, a lot of the issue actually in the industry of what we've seen since we've been developing an app is, covers of covers. And then people have said they could cover, and then actually, no, they can't. And so all of these things, I think if there's consequences, then I think people might think a bit more carefully about accepting things, or say they can and they're not really sure. And I think at the minute, with the current messaging system and the message boards that are available, it's just a way of saying, yeah, I can, maybe I can't, can I do this, can I do this? Whereas actually on our platform, if you've accepted to cover, that's a real thing, that's a commitment. And I think that's where our challenge will be in the next few months. It's like anything new, it's about adoption of that and understanding that we're not a message board where 20 people can say, yeah, maybe I can do that, as is a commitment. And so we're hopeful that with the rating system and with the app working how it is, if you receive less but quality cover requests, that are bespoke to what your settings are, then it really is a simple question of yes and no. Can I do it or can I not? And I think hopefully it will remove this additional problem then of getting covers. And we've seen it lots. We've seen cover instructors posting for cover, changing the class name of that because they're now stuck and don't want to let down their friend who they said. And the club knows none of this. The club knows that this class is now not going to be this class. So hopefully it will bring a little bit more accountability from both sides and a little bit more responsibility as to firstly how we deliver a great class, but also then we have to remember that the clubs and the members are incredibly important, whoever, and I'm a teacher myself, so it's just hopefully marrying all of those things up, but definitely to have a bit more responsibility and accountability for things.
So true. I was thinking there, you were saying when the cover gets cover and all of a sudden your spin class becomes an RPM class, becomes a sprint class, becomes a spin class again. And it's like if you wanted somebody to come to your house, and we've got builders in at the moment, you can probably hear them, so we've ordered builders, it's like a plumber turning up. It's like, exactly. No, that's not what I ordered. It's not what we need. So I do like that. There was another thing I was going to pull out. So when I logged onto the app today, it allowed me to drop my pin on a map. I put in my postcode, I put in the city, and then you can expand that to a 20-mile radius, 40, 60-mile radius, whatever it might be. What would happen? So I travel a lot. So this week, for example, I'm going to be in Belfast at the weekend. I was in Edinburgh yesterday, and next week I'm going to be in Manchester. So if I'm in Manchester for the night, how can I still cover classes there, or is that set kind of for life on my app?
Yeah, so actually one of our developments at the moment, so you'll see it on the app, but it will say kind of in process and development, is temporary overrides, and that is exactly what you're talking about. So if, for example, you know you're going to Manchester on these dates, you can override your kind of home settings and put in a Manchester address for covers happening within that time. And so then you would receive, if there are any relevant covers for that time, then you would receive them for that. So you can kind of do however many temporary overrides, because we know quite a lot of instructors might also be actors or performers who go on tour. So for example, if you're going on tour for a month and you know, actually I'm performing just in the evening, but I would love to pick up some cover in the morning, it's a great way of then being available to cover, but only at that time. So you're not then forever getting your request for Bristol when you live in London. You only get them for classes that are happening within that time you say you're going to be there.
Yeah, I love it, because I'm thinking specifically of like maybe London-based instructors who might want to like only do cover on a certain tube line, or only do cover, you know, north or south of the river. I think that could be really, really powerful. It would allow people to align their business just possibly so much more efficiently, rather than going from, you know, A to D to Z. You can just stay in A and B and just work between two postcodes. So I think that's a great feature.
Yeah, and we know also that, you know, some people might never want to be available for cover, for example, on a weekend or a Tuesday night. They have another commitment. So what's the point on them always getting cover requests for those times when they know they are never going to be able to do them? So that's why you can make your settings as bespoke to you, whereas some people might want to have all their settings open in a really big location kind of range if they're actively looking for work and don't mind traveling and can do it at all different times, because they can obviously just decline the request if they can't do it. Whereas we're seeing other people who are very specific. I only want to work within this range. This is the only times that I have available for cover. So again, yeah, you just make it completely bespoke to you.
Yeah, I'm just in the app right now. I'm not being rude by looking at my phone, so I can see, just for those listening, I can see all the cover request settings. So I can set my class categories, which is everything from dance, strength and fitness, boxing. There's all the Les Mills programs, all of them. I'm still scrolling here, all the Les Mills. I can obviously set my location, which we've just spoke about. Just a quick one. Is this available? So it's obviously in the UK. Is it available throughout Europe, Ireland, Dublin?
Not yet, but it will be.
Yes,
so
okay.
The app is built so it can actually work in any language. But as you know, we probably launched just after, so end of August.
Ago,
So we've literally, after like probably 8 months of soft launching in some clubs, we've only probably been live probably about 3 or 4 weeks.
Oh,
so
so
it's
exciting.
definitely the plan, and it is built to be able to work in any language anywhere.
Love that. And then I can obviously toggle my availability, so I can see Monday AM, Monday PM. I can see that right down for every day, what you were just chatting about. And then back to the start of the conversation, you were saying about minimum rate of pay.
Yeah.
So say for a 60-minute class, say I said my minimum rate was, you know, £40. It means I wouldn't get an offer for a class of £35.
Exactly, yeah.
Because I think a lot of instructors, I think this again where the fitness industry differs. So if we wanted, you know, if our locks broke in the house and we wanted a locksmith to come out last minute, you bet your life that is going to cost
exactly
more than, you know, 3 weeks booking in advance.
Yeah.
And I think that's where the instructors listen to this. This is where this can really play into the instructor's hand. You know, I'll do a cover class for you on a Wednesday night. It'll just cost you 50 quid.
Yeah.
And now all of a sudden it's worth my while to go and cover that, rather than just doing it for, you know, your standard rate. So I think that plays in really, really well. And then you've got that section on temporary overrides, which you've just spoke about. And then the bottom one, pause cover requests.
Yeah, so what that is a way to just stop receiving cover requests. For example, you might be on CoverNinja because you needed cover for your classes. However, you're actually not in a position to pick up any extra cover work. You're completely slammed with your own stuff and you don't want to receive any requests, in which case you can just click pause on that, which means all your settings are still there, but you just won't, you're unavailable for cover at this time. But you know what, I'm looking to earn a little bit more money because I'm going on holiday next month. You can unpause it and then be available.
Same as if you're going on holiday, you know, you're away for 2 weeks, you don't want to be getting cover requests for when you're on holiday, you know, so it just allows that.
And yeah, it's effectively you're out of office. That makes sense. Just didn't know what that was for a second. I wanted to ask, because I know people will inquire about this, is, so we've touched on, you have to upload your certifications. And I know from using the app, you have to upload an insurance certificate.
Yeah.
What insurance certificates do you accept?
It's just a public liability insurance. That's the main one. So users will be asked to upload their insurance and enter an expiry date for that insurance. We then have a team behind the scenes that check those expiry dates. So another one for us is you will never receive a cover request if you don't have a valid insurance document.
Perfect. That's obviously so important for an instructor, but also for the club to know when cover instructors coming in. I think that's a really good one.
The only thing, the only time when that doesn't occur is some venues, when they enroll on CoverNinja, if they have instructors who are employed on PAYE, they sometimes do not need an insurance document for that club because they are covered under the club's insurance. That is the only scenario when you're signing up. If you're linked to the venue as being PAYE, which the venue have confirmed, then you're able to skip the insurance. You would then be able to cover for that club. However, the app would know not to allow you to cover as a freelancer for other clubs. So that's the only kind of time when you wouldn't need one.
Yeah, because again, when I signed on, it asked, was I a member of any of these payrolls? So I had David Lloyd's, Nuffield, and a load of other ones. So I think that's really cool, because there are some companies reserve the right to do this, but they only want people who are on their payroll covering their classes. So again, I think that's a great feature. I'm going to ask you probably the question a lot of people are wondering on this. You know, what's the cost for this app? You know, for me as an instructor, as a customer, what does it cost for me to use this app? Yeah.
So as you know, we've just launched. So all our instructors at the minute are accessing a 6-month free membership. And we've worked with some of our partners like, you know, Les Mills, EMD UK, and they have an extended free period of up to 12 months. After any free period, it's $19.99 for a whole year.
That is for kind of unlimited access to post as many covers and receive as many covers. The other thing to note is if a venue that you work for, that you're on the timetable for, is enrolled in CoverNinja, you don't ever have to pay to cover or post covers for that venue. So the CoverNinja membership would be for instructors who are actively looking to cover in venues that they're not associated with, so kind of to build their exposure. So that's when you'd need a CoverNinja membership. If your venue is on CoverNinja and you are just posting and receiving for that venue, then that would be free for you as well.
So I just want to paint the picture here for instructors listening to this. This is going to be free for the first 6 months, and then it is going to be £20 a year.
Yeah.
And you could set yourself to available for cover for a minimum rate of double what your hourly rate is at the moment, and accept 2 classes. In fact, not even 2 classes, one class, and over the 12-month period, and you will be in a 100% profit zone. Like that, like it's a no-brainer.
Yeah.
Absolutely no-brainer. That's
and you get rid of all of the stress and all of the hassle of having to be on all these different groups. Everything is in one place. The idea is to make everyone's lives easier as well.
I mean, we can close down all the Facebook groups.
Yeah,
that's the ultimate goal.
I think, yeah, and I think for us, you know, it's about building, like, you know, the largest global network of instructors. That's the key for it. And, you know, clubs can have their own networks of instructors, access to a larger database, but basically just bringing everything under one hood. to remove all of the additional stress for everyone involved in the whole process. That's really our aims.
Yeah, and it is also it is a management tool as well for instructors. There's so many things. We always find one of the hardest things about talking about CoverNinja is how to get across all the things, because there are so many things that ninja brain can do. So much as like the app knows if there's going to be a conflict, so it knows what classes you're teaching, and it won't then allow you to accept a class that's going to conflict with that. It also knows when you've posted a cover request. So at the moment, sometimes now people, because they're posting on loads of different Facebook groups, they're having people accept on different groups, and it's really confusing. No one knows, am I covering, am I not? Whereas through the app, once you've posted a request, you and the venue are then no longer allowed to post that again, because that will be a duplicate. So there's no chance for any duplicates, any confusion like that. It's all kind of all in one place. And if you're like, okay, what classes am I teaching this week? You just need to log on to the app and you can see everything there, rather than, oh God, I think I did one on a Facebook group. I said yes on a WhatsApp group, but did I put it in my diary?
It just, and same as well for venues, we can see straight away if a venue needs cover for, say, I don't know, spinning class on a Saturday morning, the app knows. The app can work faster than any human a million times over. So we can say, hey, you don't have any teachers instantly, and so they're able to then make some choices about that class. Do I change the class? Do we need to go and recruit? What are we doing? We're also able to give insights and to say, hey, do you realize that Sally Jones, sorry if there is a Sally Jones, that's a fake name, Sally Jones has had her Wednesday morning spin class covered 3 times out of 4, because ultimately that's not great. We should be teaching the same classes regularly, rather than, I've had a better offer, so I'll get cover. And I think all of these things, again, to drive those industry standards, and because we get that data instantly, we can give insights back to the club, and we can tell them, you've only got one boxing instructor ever available. You're not going to be able to find cover for that.
Yeah, so you might need to get some more boxing instructors, or change your settings for that cover. And like we said about the covers of the cover, the app knows straight away, like Nick said, if everyone has declined the request. So then it's up to the venue to then decide, and they will be notified straight away, rather than thinking, oh, there might be more people. It's like, no one can do it. So either you open up your settings to go to a wider audience of people, or you might want to change the class or change the pay rate. It then gives them that control back, rather than, like we said, the instructor just being like, oh, actually it could be an RPM or a sprint or this. It's like, well, that kind of
venues control it.
Yeah, that's really cool. You've said about insights there as well, and I know you've only been operating kind of live for a couple of weeks now. What insights can you, maybe, I appreciate you can't share them all, but what could you share that have perhaps surprised you, or have been quite powerful, overwhelming?
I've got like one, but I don't know. For me, actually, what's been amazing is the speed that people are replying to a push notification.
Okay.
So we thought, okay, how long, when you get pushed to your phone, how long does it take for you to action that? And when we did loads of our mapping out, we were like, would it take someone 3 hours to respond? What we're seeing is within like 15 minutes, classes are getting covered on that app, because people see that push and go, yeah, I want it. And I think that's or I don't want it. Yeah. But I think that's probably been, for me, something that I wasn't expecting so much. Just the speed, and it's a job. So people go, yeah, I can do that. It's when I can. So they don't have to go back to their diary and check stuff 10 times over. Like, yeah, I know that club. I've said I'm on that payroll. Boom, done. And so the speed of that transaction, I think, is very, very fast.
Yeah, that I was actually going to say that insight as well. One other thing that we already touched about, I think just seeing in action is the covers of covers. And I think it's just kind of getting people to trust in the system and to actually kind of understand that once you are saying you can cover. Obviously, these things happen. There are emergencies. There are plans change. We're not saying that that can never ever happen and you'll be banned from the app. Of course not. But it's just, I think the kind of flippancy of quite a lot of people, just because it's like a sort of scramble. They just say yes to everything, and they've said yes to things that are at the same time, but they haven't heard back yet whether they can do it. So whereas on the app, it's like when you say yes, you are really confirming that. And
that will just take time, I think, Ricky. It's a new platform. It's a new thing. It is a change of behaviour. We're also fully understand for instructors to trust us and recognise that we do. And I think one thing that we also like to say is there's myself and Claudia, there's a team of developers, there's a team of creative people, there's a support team as well, like helping with instructor inquiries, helping with their cover request settings if they're stuck, so we've been going a couple of years. We've got a big investment team. We've got a large team behind us of developers. We're at just the very early stages, really, of our first release of app that's coming out. We've got features built out to our eyeballs that will be dropping kind of soon. But right now, it's just purely about getting as many people onto the app as soon as possible. And the more people on the app, the easier cover will become for everybody.
Yeah, I'm going to ask you about future developments in a second, so hold that thought. There's just one thing popped into my head there, Claudia, when you were speaking. You might have covered this earlier, so it's just so as people get an understanding is, let's say Nicola put a request out for a cover class, and Claudia, you and I get the notification on our phone straight away, and let's say more or less at the same time, we both say yes.
Yeah.
Does it then go back to Nicola and she chooses?
No. So what happens is all the preferences go into the app before it's posted out. So when a venue is on board, they set all their preferences for all classes. So they could say, these are kind of my top favorite instructors. This is the top group. This is my second favorite, third favorite. You can do as many as you want. Or it might just be like, these are all my instructors who I trust. If not, then go to the wider CoverNinja database, who might not have worked here before, but obviously they've got all the right qualifications and that's all pre-programmed. The app and the brain of our app knows then who to get the cover. When you're posting a request as an instructor, you can also prioritize. So if you're working in a fitness venue that is on CoverNinja, they might have done all their preferences, but I might, as an instructor, know that you always cover my classes and the members love you. And because you already are linked to my venue, I can prioritize you as the top choice. So in that case, if you accept it, you're confirmed straight away. So you are the top choice, and it could be multiple people in a top choice. Whoever in the top group who responds first will instantly get the cover. If you weren't in my top group, the app would wait a little bit of time and kind of pool the response to wait to see if someone in the top group can do it. If no one in the top group can do it, then it will go to the person in the next highest group. So the app knows also. It depends on time. So if the class is happening within 4 hours, we really need a cover. We just get the first person who obviously has got all the other qualifications and things. However, if the class is in 2 weeks' time, we'll wait a little bit longer to get our top choice. And if none of them can do it, which often is the case, then it will go to the next group. And that's why you want to really do a good job as an instructor, because then you might be then added to that top group for next time.
Yeah, and we've seen that, I think. So it's quite clever, I guess, the algorithm that's been built in the back end, Ricky. So that algorithm knows the time sensitivities of that cover request. It knows when it's urgent, and it knows when it's in 3 months' time. Okay, everyone that can receive that cover request, they'll get the request at the same time, right? And the responses, I guess, for want of a word, are banked by the app, depending on the time sensitivity. The app chooses the most applicable person.
Cool. Yeah. That's so good. And I love how you've got that. You said the urgency window, the 4-hour window. That's when you see it in the Facebook group. SOS, emergency cover needed. So you've got that feature. That's quality. I love that. So I'm going to put you on the spot. I want to find out all your dirty business secrets. what developments and what else is the app going to be doing? You obviously said you're going to hopefully roll it out, outside of the UK and all that. So what else are we going to do?
So I think we can safely say that it's a constant battle in our office about what the next development feature shall be. As you know, I'm heavily from venues and Claude's definitely from instructors. So I'm like, it has to be that. And Claude's like, it has to be that. So I think there's a few bits going on really from, firstly, a big development piece is actually happening in the office, is actually giving us more data and information about our users and the behaviors of our users, and that's what's called basically an admin panel. And so at the minute what we're working on is a big chunk for us, is really providing a dashboard of information to all of our users, because the data is already there, but how it's presented to our users to help them do their job and help them make choices is going to be a big one for us. In terms of instructor features and mobile app features rolling out, there's two key ones, I guess, that are kind of in the shorter term. One of which, again, is to really kind of help drive those standards, is a recurring cover. So say, for example, you're away for 3 Thursdays because you're away for 3 weeks. You can post a linked request for all of those 3 Thursdays. Mm-hmm. And then the app will try and choose someone who can do all of those 3 Thursdays.
Yeah, that's cool.
And again, from a club point of view, we want that same teacher every week. We want the members to have that same service level. The second one on that, which happens quite a lot in some venues but not in other venues, is what we call a shift of classes, which are more than 2 classes back to back. So you might teach in a venue and you might work from 8 till 12 and do 4 classes, all different classes potentially back to back. And again, that can be posted as a linked shift. So again, the app very cleverly, time sensitivity, it knows the class categories. The aim is to try and select someone who potentially can do all of those 4. If not 4, do 3 of them. And then more complicated, it will be able to work out a recurring shift. So if it's 3 Thursdays of that shift, it will hopefully be able to select the right person. So it doesn't have, we see at the minute, someone can do the first one, but then they're not going to hang around for the last one. We need to try and bunny them up to make it more efficient. So they're 2 kind of big instructor features that will be pushed out
at the moment. Yeah.
And I guess kind of like the last one, which I'm probably more charged with, is ultimately, Ricky, I see this as a platform where instructors can get paid for the job they do. So you teach a class, you get paid for it. Instantly. So eventually CoverNinja will become a payment platform processing platform for instructors. There'll be a CoverNinja wallet. You teach a class, the venue confirms, or the instructor confirms that you've been covered, and then money gets put in your account.
Wow.
And so that's our kind of next large development piece, and that won't start until next year, the development piece itself. But for me and for Claude, that really is the complete end-to-end solution. The needs there, the problem's fixed, the job gets done, and then boom, you're paid. And we know from a club point of view, adding instructors to the back system is incredibly complicated, I've worked in tons of clubs, and actually they're not these huge brands with thousands of instructors on their books, and it is a nightmare adding a new instructor. So in some ways, venues don't want to add new instructors because of the back's work behind it. But actually, they're limiting their resource. There's so many amazing instructors out there, but they're not going to ever get added to the payroll, so can't teach. And from an instructor's point of view, processing your invoices, getting them in on time, who to send it to. Again, those last minute covers, no one's actually asking and then, where do I send this invoice to? Who to? It's always afterwards. I did that cover then. So we know that if we are able to release payments within the app, then it really will be an absolute complete end-to-end. So an instructor at the end of each month just downloads their invoice, pops it straight into Xero or whatever. They can just literally put it as PDFs onto their computer, and the venue know exactly where they stand. So that's our bigger plans.
I absolutely love that. I'm just sitting thinking of the potential for all that, which is, really, really good. Have that impact on the industry, not just the group fitness side of the industry, but the overall. And it's kind of what we should have been doing all along, if you think about it. So it's kind of like, finally, it's something, someone's here doing it. So, fair play to you. Fair play to you both. And I was going to ask one final question, because this is me speaking with my instructor hat on, because people like stuff. So if I join CoverNinja and I'm part of the ecosystem, and yes, I'm going to get my covers, I'm going to be able to get my classes covered, I'm going to be able to get paid. What else what other benefits do instructors get from being on CoverNinja?
So for me, obviously, everything we've already mentioned about kind of reducing the stress and the admin and all that kind of thing. But I do think for an instructor, it's exposure as well, and the opportunity to more work and to earning more. But what we hope and what we strive towards is being part of that community, and really hoping to build that kind of real proper network of instructors and really form a proper community. In the future, there's loads we want to do with events and learning and training, and just creating that space where everyone knows you, everyone wants to be part of that community. And hopefully we're working on quite a few other kind of partnerships and benefits. Can't talk too much about it for now, but with other brands for fitness instructors, essentially.
Love it. For the podcast listeners right now, the cheeky smiles, Claudia, on their face when they've said that. Brand partnerships and all that. Like, we're all going to be wearing the best clothes with the best free flights all around the world. We'll all be sorted. I love
Go with that.
So just in closing, very conscious of time, we've been on here for about 55 minutes now. I'm sure you're very, very busy and you've got stuff to do. Where can people find CoverNinja, and what is the process of signing up, as in where's that button?
So two ways. Probably the easiest way on your phone is to go to either the App Store or Google Play, type in CoverNinja, download the app, and then you can quite simply sign up from there. Or another way to do it, if you are on your computer, on your laptop or whatever, you can visit our website, coverninja.co.uk, and from there you can click Get Started, and that will allow you to create your profile on your desktop, and then you would download the app onto your phone whenever.
Excellent. Perfect. And I will link that all in the show notes for everyone. And I'll link your Instagram page as well on the show notes, and get people in touch and just build a community, help build CoverNinja.
Thank you so much.
We really appreciate you asking us on. It's been awesome.
We've had some, that's what's, I think, been amazing for us, Ricky, some fantastic support. And I think sharing sentiments of yourself of, this has been a thing, and great, there's someone here now doing it. And I think even we've, say with Les Mills, it's a conversation we started with them probably nearly 18 months ago, when it was concept. And I think we've allowed people to be involved with us, in early testing. We've asked for feedback all the time. How would you do this? And I think because we've involved we've had focus groups with Group X managers, fitness managers, instructors, and I think we're always just keen for feedback. This is a platform for our instructors and for our venues, and I think we've had such a support from everyone and the likes of yourselves, and hopefully our aim will be make everything better and just to have a lot more fun, really, I guess, in the industry. Take out the boring stuff, let computers do that. Excellent. And let all the stuff we're actually good at.
The most fun thing is automation helping us get more time and more money.
That's it.
Exactly.
That is the goal. I'm very clear about this when I work with my business clients. The goal is not to work more for more money. The goal is to work less for more money. And any group fitness instructors listening to this, let's not let the absolute love of the industry to use that as an excuse to accept lower standards than what we're worse on. I do genuinely, this, from what I hear in the CoverNinja app, from what I've seen on it, and from speaking to you both, this is something that's going to bridge that gap. And like I said, it's going to give people more time and more money and less stress, less Facebook groups. Yes. That's the win. Girls, thank you so much for coming on. I'll put it all in the show notes and tag you both. And I will catch you on the other side of this recording.
Thanks so much,
Thanks,
Ricky. Bye now.
You're listening to the Ricky Long Podcast.
A very, very different show for me to do. Personally, I really, really enjoyed it. I know there's going to be a whole heap of group fitness instructors benefit from the CoverNinja services. If you're listening to this and you're a group fitness instructor, do pass on the message of CoverNinja. The notes have their Instagram links. If you're going to sign up, tell them Ricky Long sent you. And if you want to share the message, share the podcast anywhere on Instagram, and share other group fitness instructors and sharing it with your group fitness managers, I think that would be a really, really powerful message. I'm going to speak directly to, but not exclusively. I'm going to speak directly, but not exclusively. I like that saying. I made up that saying. I'm going to speak directly, but not exclusively, to the Les Mills instructors listening to this podcast. Listen, I'm a Les Mills instructor. You might associate me with being a Les Mills trainer. I am a Les Mills instructor first and foremost. I understand the frustrations you and we all have. This app will make things better because it will provide us with more work. More work means more money. The more we share this means the more work there is to go around. The more apps like this are supported, the more the industry grows. It's not about competition. It's about everyone helping each other. So by you registering on this app and your mate who's a body pump instructor registered in this app, this helps the overall industry. It brings the average up. Right now, the average of morale is probably quite low. Let's bring that up. So share the love, share the positivity. And let's all go and earn some dollar. This is the Ricky Long Podcast, sponsored by Podium for Sport, sponsored by Jump 4.2, and featured on this episode is the CoverNinja. Thank you so much, Nicola and Claudia, for giving me your time. Any feedback to anyone, screenshot it, post it on social media. We love that. You got to tag the CoverNinja. That's why I went off on a rant about 20 seconds ago.
You are listening to the Ricky Long Podcast, where international fitness entrepreneur Ricky Long answers your questions and interviews fitness leaders on training, nutrition, and mindset. Be sure to leave a review on iTunes.